Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode 110 of the Audible Farm podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is roasted right here in Iowa, and they will roast your order for you when you make it. That means they're not roasting dozens and dozens of pounds and hoping they sell it. Oh no, they are roasting coffee specifically for whoever ordered it and shipping it to them. That's fresh. That's how you do it. So check it out. Go to www.couchtowncoffee.com. Find a coffee you like and make an order. And when you do, let them know Audible Farm sent you. Enter the code word Audible Farm, and they will give you 20% off. 20% off the freshest coffee in Iowa. Hard to beat that. Check them out. www.couchtowncoffee.com. Thanks, Couchtown. This episode features Jesse Wilson. Jesse has been playing music as a solo artist over the last year or so, maybe, and he's really kind of coming onto his own. I talked to him a little bit on an episode. I guess I don't have it up now, but somewhere in the past, I did talk to him. Him and Clint Riedel jumped on an episode together when Jesse was first kind of jumping back into the scene. And since then, he's made a music video. He's made some of his own tunes. He's doing a lot of the work himself, and I commend him for that. That's really cool. He's pulling it off well, and it sounds great. All of his tunes sound good, and the music video looks great. We'll get into all that stuff in the podcast here, plus a little bit more. So check it out. This is episode 110 with Jesse Wilson.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Sitting down today, I got Jesse Wilson back with me. Jesse, it's been a while since I talked to you on the podcast. As a matter of fact, I think the last time I talked to you on the podcast was like you were kind of coming back into the music scene. You had just written a song that you were doing the music video for it, and it hadn't quite been released or anything like that, but you've been going to jam nights and things like that up in Barnum. And it's been a while, but you've been busy.
That's right.
Yeah, man. So what kind of stuff have you been up to, generally speaking, I guess?
Still hitting up jam night on Tuesday, getting some practice in there. That's always a good experience for a musician.
Yeah, definitely.
I've recently got a studio rolling at my house. I've been doing gigs, steadily getting gigs now, so that's good. Picking up, and I'm recording some original music, and
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, those Barnum jams are like some of the funnest things ever. I mean, I don't know why I just look at that. It's like, this is so fun to just be able to go out there and just play with other people, and all of our confidence levels are slowly building. We're getting comfortable being around one another and playing with one another to the point where you're jumping in on the bass. Right, and it's do you play the bass? It's well, no, but can you play the bass? And you're well, I mean, I can try. And then it's just play this note, and you're it's over here. It's well, where everything's at. You'll figure it out, and
those are good times. It's fun.
It's really fun because that's what I'm doing up there. Honestly, I know how to play a bass, but I'm not a bassist.
Right.
But it's kind of fun to get up there and halfway through a song, you're I'm rocking out to this. I'm getting into it.
Feeling it.
Yeah, and,
those are some of the funnest times because you get musicians that don't get to generally play with each other, and you all get together and just have an awesome jam. Good times.
Yeah, I mean, every time somebody shows up in drums, it's
yeah,
everyone cheers. It's thank God there's a drummer here. This is the best thing ever, and it's pretty fun because Carson was on the drums the other day when she showed up, and I'm I didn't know you could play drums. She's I don't play drums. I'm
right.
You're better than me, come on, play the drums,
man. Good time.
That's just super fun. I like being able to go up there and play tag on bass lines to your songs, or bass lines to Clint's songs, and or play leads to somebody's stuff, or go up there and these are songs that normally I would want to play at jam night, so I'll play them on acoustic, and you're playing bass, and Debo's playing leads. Debo's Dan Blair, but
shout out Dan Blair.
Yeah, no shit.
My lead guitarist right now.
That's so cool. In a matter of no time, he had I talked to him on the first podcast, and he wasn't really playing shows anymore. And then I talked to him, 100 episodes later, and he was I'm looking to get out there and play some more, and stuff. So I was well, start coming with me to jam nights. And I just started dragging him with jam nights to the point where
got my attention.
Yeah, Jesse was just it'd be kind of cool to have somebody play lead guitar with me, because it's pretty neat when, if for a while there was no bassist there, and if nobody's playing drums, it's just a acoustic and a lead, so you get that environment that you normally wouldn't ever get just playing by yourself.
Right.
So you're oh, this is neat, and
heck yeah.
Now my buddy gets to play music with
We've
you.
actually did about 4 shows together, and I guess if you count jam night, that's a practice show there. So I mean, we're just getting rolling, and we're getting booked, and it's starting to pick up. It's exciting.
Yeah, man. That's like the thing is like every time I talk to Dan, because I talk to him a little bit more than I talk to you like off the podcast, but like he's just like, yeah, man, every show it keeps getting better. Like I thought I did good the last show, and then this show is like, oh, I did better this show than I did last show, and I thought I was good at the last, you know.
And our set list is rotating too to just kind of keep it upbeat and writing new stuff. So
yeah, definitely.
Exciting.
Yeah, I mean that's another cool thing about like writing music and stuff is now you have a studio, and it's like when you think like studio, everyone's like, oh, you've got these like crazy like partitioned off rooms with like glass things and these huge mixers and stuff, and it's like I got like a laptop and a microphone, dude. You know, and that's all you need.
Yep.
Isn't that the wildest thing? Because when I first set up like and I always like, I'm a quote unquote studio, you know, like when I set up my studio, I don't ever say that because it's just like, well, it's just a laptop on a table with like a microphone. It's like
nice monitors.
You know, I don't even have monitors. It's just like I just have headphones because I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to have some monitors actually instead of relying on just the laptop sound if you want, you know, because that's not enough. But it is one of those funny things where it's like you really don't need almost anything to, you know, you don't need elaborate stuff. You don't need, you know, need thousands of dollars worth of mixers and stuff. And
my setup, it's on the downside, but it does what it needs to do, and it just
I'm blown away. You know, like you know, the stuff you're showing me or the stuff I get to listen to I hear on the regional rock hour, even. You know,
it's kind of cool.
It's like, dude, this is cool. He's making this all, you know, himself. You know, at his place.
Just released my first one I ever did in my home studio, 1027 Studios. Woo! Hammer Down. That was on regional rock hour a couple weeks ago. Very cool.
That's
Very cool.
Really cool. You know, and shout out to Mason for that.
Absolutely.
Almost every single week when I tune in, he says something about Audible Farm, whether or not he's playing Three Finger Betty's.
He does good stuff for local artists and Iowa artists. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So shout out Mason for playing some tunes. But I mean, like that was like the crazy thing. So I was just like, you go online, it's like, oh, if you want the best microphone, you need this 400, and it's like, no, I don't. I just need the basic thing, the thing that everyone has, you know. And it's you know, these microphones aren't anything special, and it's one of those fun things when I talk to other podcasters, and I'm like, yeah, like you wouldn't know, you know. And nowadays, cheap stuff, I won't say cheap stuff, but like inexpensive stuff is like almost as good as the high dollar stuff. So like the entry level stuff is not that bad if you want to get into like try and make in a studio. It's like the biggest part you're going to need, I guess, is a computer of some sort. But computers aren't even terribly expensive, and even like free software is not bad because we were talking before this, like
GarageBand.
Yeah, GarageBand. Like it's one of those ones that everybody knows GarageBand. It has an Apple computer or has had one, but it's like one of those things where, you know, that's what I use, and it's just fun to be able to do with like a podcast and you know, record stuff for fun. It might not be the best professional software because you don't get much extra stuff with it really, but but as far as basics go, like you can pull off stuff with that. I know people that have actually recorded albums and singles with it that you're like,
I believe it.
I
had fun messing around with it.
Yeah, and God, that's just like the mind-blowing thing to me is like the people I've run into so many people even in the last like 10 episodes where it's like, oh, you made this yourself? Like this is insane. This is so good, you know. And like before this podcast, you were like, hey, you gotta listen to these new tracks, and it's like, oh, this is really cool, you know. And it's not even, you know, properly mixed or mastered yet, but it's like, you made this here, and it's like, you know, this is like a quick 5-minute mixing job.
And that's great too, because if you get an idea or like inspiration strike, you just push record and you got it laid down. And I think I forgot more cool stuff than I wrote down, honestly.
Oh my gosh,
I'm not doing that.
You know, and that's, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And that's super smart, especially when it's like that easy, when you can just, you know, walk over to a computer and just be like, boom, and just plug it in and be like, here we go. Even if I need to re-record it tomorrow to sound better, here's what it sounds like, you know. And that's one of those really cool things that
awesome.
I always, you know, I should take advantage of that more. I did for a while, and then I ended up with like a whole bunch of stuff, and I never went through it to try to make good music out of it, and I just kind of gave up. But that's, you know, it's so cool that
keep doing it.
Yeah, you know, that's, I just look at some of the people like you out there grinding and just grinding away, and it's like, man, I wish I had my nose to the grindstone like you guys do, because you're out there just creating stuff. And
shout out Tyler Childers.
You know, it's really great that you guys are out there constantly making stuff,
cool.
And
it's fun times right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're making new music. You're playing covers that people know. You're playing covers that people like, that might not fit the genre that you're in, and people are just like, holy cow, I know this song, and it's like the weird songs, like even though it's genre skipping, everyone knows it, and it gets them moving and stuff. And
live shows are getting real fun.
Yeah, and speaking of live shows, you like came out to the Rockin' Picnic and hung out at the Rockin' Picnic for a while.
Great experience.
Yeah, and that was one of those fun things where Clint was there, Clint Riedel was there, and Vinny was there, Vince Benishek. I've talked to both of them recently on the podcast, and they got booked on the show. And I was, it's kind of a weird thing because like Vinny was booked as like an acoustic act for a while, and then they were like, "Can you play a full set?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can play a full set." So he ended up doing that instead, which left an acoustic set open. And luckily enough, you were there.
Showed up at the right time.
Yeah, and those Barnum Jams do come in handy because I was at a Barnum Jam night, and Scott Dahl came out for just a little bit, and he just kind of, I was just like, "Hey, what are you up to tonight?" And he swung out and talked to me for a little bit at the Barnum Jams, and
it's the first time I met him was out there that night. Yep.
Yeah, it was really cool because it's you never know who's watching,
Sure.
and he was enamored with it enough. He's just like, "Oh, I know this guy can play music. He can sing well. He can play tunes that are, family friendly or whatever." And
I think we walked back and you reintroduced me to him, made sure we knew each other. Very cool.
I mean, that's just something I always try to do for my friends is just like, if I can, try my best to give them like the best opportunities.
You bring your guitar? I'm like, no, but I'm pretty sure I can get one.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly. That was like a joke we had always made, like talking about the Rockin' Picnic on the podcast. Was like, if you come to the Rockin' Picnic, bring your gear. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen.
That.
And now you know. It's just like that's how it happens. And because you never know, maybe they're ahead of schedule, behind schedule. Someone has a short set. You never know.
Right.
Somebody's sick, band can't make it the day of, flat tire. You never know.
Sure.
And, especially when you're booking like 9 or 10 different acts. It's like chances are high that something's going to happen.
Sure.
So it's really kind of cool that we go to the show and it's just like, oh, Jesse's here. It's like, Jesse, do you know Scott, Jesse? And it's just like, if nothing else, like introduce you guys so
that was
so
cool.
he knows
Cool.
who you are, and maybe next year Rockin' Picnic, whatever, and. So I try. I always try my best to just be like, hey, make sure everybody kind of knows each other, and I don't really have any ill will towards anyone. I don't really pick any favorites, and I don't really want to be like, I don't side with one musician over the other. I just think it's kind of fun to have everybody, at least be aware of one another. Another jam night, maybe Scott shows up and plays drums, or somewhere else another jam night is,
cool.
Across the county or in a different county, one county over, a couple towns over, and we all show up and at least everybody knows each other. It's kind of fun to just know each other, and cool. Shout out to Scott for showing up to a jam night. That was the night we were outside though.
Outside.
And Scott's not much of like a cajon player, so he was like, I'm not gonna play today. So
just hanging out.
Yeah, so he just hung out. But it ended up being beneficial because at the show when I reintroduced you guys, I was like, hey, Jesse, Scott, and Jesse plays music, and you kind of need another person, so maybe Jesse could play. And it was one of those kind of cool things where just kind of all the pieces kind of fell into place.
I felt like that moment was like when preparation met opportunity, and it just worked out great. It went on stage, played, like, I kept playing the songs and looking over, and he's like, play another one. I was like, cool. Clint came up and did Come Back Home with me. Great experience.
Yeah.
So there was probably 300 people in the crowd and more at the campers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like 300 people maybe directly in front of the stage. The crazy thing is when you're on stage, you can't see how many people are off to the right of the stage, because there's a pile of campers right next to the stage on the right, and that place was flooded.
It was the biggest crowd I've played for, and the cheers were cool too. It was a good time.
Yeah, it's tons of fun. I remember my first time playing Rockin' Picnic. I'm like, I don't know if anyone's going to like this, and I'm like all super nervous and stuff, and people were like, this is awesome. Like, do you guys play, how long can you play? Do you play bigger gigs? And I mean, they were loving it, and it's, it's good to feel that, in a town, especially like, a small town like Humboldt doesn't get too much stuff like that. And,
right.
That's kind of where I'm from originally. So it's also nice to be able to go there and promote it and sometimes play on the show,
Very cool.
And, and that's another thing, like Rockin' Picnic. Sometimes things happen where like people will throw together bands that might be like the one show they play. You never know, and that's happened to me before, and that's,
you guys rocked it, I'm sure.
Yeah. There are actually videos online, somewhere. But yeah, anyways, that's like one of those super cool things we talked about on the Rockin' Picnic. Like, you never know what's going to happen. Bring your stuff. And then all of a sudden it was just like, it was almost like, and I told you so moment, like check this out. And you did go back and get your guitar. Was that your first time playing with because like you had did I believe you had like your Yamaha with you? Was
Yep,
that like the first show you played with that actually?
Yep, just
It's so wild,
it was
you know.
cool. My boys were with me.
Oh,
That's
yeah!
the first time they ever seen their dad rock out. They loved it. It was just a great experience. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I remember you were playing, and I didn't know they hadn't seen you play live yet. And Clint said something about it. And then when you were done, I was like kind of being a stage hand, so I was kind of helping stuff up and off the backside of the stage. But when you were done, they come run into the backstage
It was
area.
awesome.
It was
So
super
awesome.
cool. They were loving it, you know. And I never think too much about that. I mean, I don't have kids, but you know, especially like if your kids have heard you just like sitting at home playing guitar, you know, it's just like, well, that's neat and stuff. But then when they're just
that's
like
different. Yep.
then when you go stand in front of a bunch of people and everyone, and you're like, oh, all these people are watching my dad play music,
it's
you
pretty
know?
Cool. Glad they were there.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
it actually, gosh, it just brings the whole family atmosphere of the Rockin' Picnic back around full circle.
Definitely will be back. That's awesome.
Yeah. You know, bags tournament, the whole 9 yards. It was tons of fun. I auctioned off the guitar I painted and everything.
They did real well.
Bunch of other stuff. So, Rockin' Picnic, you want any more information on that, scroll back to the older episodes with the Rockin' Picnic, a handful. It's like 105 or something. But yeah, since like all that kind of stuff's happened, we at the end of the last time I talked to you, you were in the process of making a music video. And
Then COVID.
yeah, oh my gosh, that was like the very beginning of it. That was one of the last face-to-face podcasts I did for a while. You know, I tried my best to steer a little bit clear of people, but you know, it's super crazy that like that all happened. But you did have a music video that got made, and it came out. Come Back Home is a music video. It's available on YouTube if you guys search Jesse Wilson.
Yep.
Come Back Home. As a matter of fact, I'll just put it in the description section. How's that? It'll be the thing in the description section. But yeah, it was really cool to actually see that kind of finished, because I got to see you guys shooting, and I tried my best to kind of like stay off to the side.
Tyler Kennedy, Moreland Studios came out, did his thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it was really neat because it was like right before everything had kind of closed down, and you did like a shoot in the junkyard in Barnum, and so like we were all there, doors are all closed and everything. We were like, that was when we were like, let's be as safe about this as possible. Like we're locking the doors.
I had a blast those days.
Yeah,
shooting.
and so I'm sitting way down at the end of the bar, and everybody's kind of trying to steer clear of each other, but still shoot a music video because we don't know what's going on. And
Right.
so you guys end up like I said, you were take after take after take, and it was like, this is super cool to watch, like how this is all going down. And it actually inspired me to like make a music video for Clint,
awesome.
which is pretty neat, because it was like, well, I've always taken to the, like we said before with like the studio, it's like you don't really need super fancy high dollar stuff to pull something off.
Right?
Yeah, you can shoot it with an iPhone. And then I found out that like, you know, other bands I know have been shooting music videos with iPhones, and it's like,
Why not?
I didn't know.
Why not?
You know, it's like if you can fool me with this, and somebody finally said it like a year or two later, it's like, oh, that was with like a 2-year-old iPhone. Like that's wild.
That's pretty good.
So I'm going to try that. So I tried it and pulled it off, you know, fairly well. It wasn't nearly as well produced as yours. I'm not trying to say mine wasn't any good, but like,
It's good. I've seen it.
yeah, dude. I want to say though, like yours was like legit. Yours was something that like if you turn on the TV and see something that, you know, would be on the TV, that's what yours looks like. It's I mean, obviously the tune is awesome.
The COVID thing actually worked out kind of because they weren't busy out in California, where the guy that shot at Tyler Kennedy, my buddy, so he's back working construction, and he came over and shot the video. He looked like the Terminator one day. He did this big old apparatus on for stable. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean he had gadgets and gizmos and all sorts of crazy stuff going on, and like I said, I just took a page out of his playbook on like how to kind of do it and how to sync everything up and get it all in there, and it worked out really, really well. You know, I'm trying my best to do like a couple other ones for other people and kind of keep them on the down low. Yeah, I need one of those. That's what my next thing. I'm gonna go on Amazon and get one of those.
There you go.
Take 12. Yeah. No, but that's like really cool that ended up coming out. You got a lot. I don't have my phone, but like there was a lot of views on YouTube. I can't remember where it topped out at, but it's like
2,000 about right now. I think
that's wild.
it's a good video. Check it out.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be in the description section. So wherever you're listening, scroll down into the description and click on the link. Check it out at the end of the podcast, or right now, and then come back to the podcast. No, but seriously, like, and that's one of those super cool things where I was like, this guy's doing it all on his own. you kind of just showed up on the scene. And we're like, I can kind of write some music here, and I can do some stuff, And you go to jam nights and you start honing your craft a little bit, and you're getting a little bit better at like playing leads and doing things like that, It's really cool to see slowly get better and show these things like along the way where it's just like, well, here's a song I made, and you're not scared to just be like, I'm just gonna put this out as a single, and
Sure.
and just check out this song, and you got maybe I'm not gonna make a music video for this one, but check this out, and so you got a bunch of that kind of stuff going on, and it really kind of makes me happy to see you working so hard, and
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And not only that, but like every song, it seems like you're trying to feature, other musicians from around the area to kind of.
I think if you're not doing that around here, you're not a fool. But not. There's a lot of talent around this town. We're all pals. I mean, we should all be collaborating, making making magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if nothing else, it's good exposure for everybody involved. But like, I also feel like why not? It's like if we're making like a big giant recipe and everyone is a different ingredient, why wouldn't you want a little bit of this ingredient in
Absolutely.
there? It's like obviously like pizza's good with like sauce, cheese, and dough, but like why wouldn't you want to throw some pepperoni on it? Like bring in that Jeremy Ober, he's the pepperoni, or whatever, and it's like that's.
Yep.
It seems like every single song you got somebody different kind of doing something different, or you're always just like, hey, I got this thing, come over and check it out, maybe play on it, and we'll just see what happens. And
it's one of the woes of not having a band yet. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
We're a 2-piece right now.
That's true. I mean, like, you just got to find your way there. I mean, that's kind of how Clint did it, and a lot of those other guys did it, around the area, especially those like acoustic style players.
Jam night's great for that. Seeing some people that are out, talented individuals.
Yeah, really
musicians.
Talented people, and it's like, are you doing anything right now?
Right.
No, well, have I got something for you? And so like that's the kind of stuff that I think is fun about jam nights, is just running into people like that, or getting to play like with people that you're just like, I wouldn't normally get to play with people like this.
Better bring it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll disclose it on the podcast, because if you're listening, it's like, why not? This is what it's for. But like at the last jam night, I kind of like secretly went outside and like told my fanboy story where it's like, I don't really get to play, too much with like, some of these people. And I remember like getting to play with Jeremy Ober at a Patty's Pub Jam once. I was just like, oh yeah, this is
cool.
good. This is gonna be super cool, because like
cool.
I looked up to Jeremy for like 10 plus years in the area as like a musician, so I was like, this is gonna be sweet, and we get done playing. It was just like, that was cool, but I didn't get to play East Side Window with him, so bummer. So I was
actually featuring Brutal Republic on one of my new songs that I'm not gonna release. I got about 4 I'm working on. I'm going to put out an album, I think, here sometime in the future. So. Oh,
cool. So you're going to try and like feature people around the area on like most of those songs and stuff?
Yep. Not all of them, but.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. And, gosh, I just think like that's something I've always tried my best to do, is like find some way to incorporate somebody else into what you're doing, if nothing else. I mean, that's obviously all I have on my podcast to do anyways, but like, why not try to incorporate somebody else into something else you have going on, or like, if you and him like kind of use each other to lean on, you can get to a lot farther than anywhere else. Same thing with like Dan. Dan can do the acoustic sing guitar thing too, but like put an electric guitar in his hands and stick him next to you. Like you guys could might be able to go farther than just you alone or just him alone. Or
if one of these songs takes off, I mean, I'm bringing some people with. You know what I mean? That's
how
I feel. So
yeah, why not?
100%.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, how many songs have you put out now? Let me ask you that.
3. Come Back Home, She's Funky, and Hammer Down.
Hammer Down. Hammer Down's out. I guess I didn't know that.
Yep.
Sweet. So is that like available on all the places, I guess?
Everywhere you stream music. Yep.
Yep. YouTube as well, I'm assuming.
Cool. Yeah, it's on YouTube Music. Yep.
Yep. So then it's also,
you can make a TikTok.
I was gonna say
songs.
Probably TikTok, probably Instagram as well.
Yep.
Do the whole story thing.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Somebody makes a viral TikTok dance. There we go.
Let's do it. Yeah, She's Funky dance. Let's see it. Yeah, man, I'm in. Let's start it out here in Fort Dodge and see how far it can go. And that's the other cool thing about like the northern Iowa area. A lot of you guys are really supportive of one another. Like I said, jumping on each other's tracks and playing things with one another. Going to jam nights, adding flavor to one another's songs. As far as like even how do you made this song, how do I play this song, or like going along and just playing somebody else's tune, or like I was always saying like with Ober, it's like I'd love to play East Side Window, and one time at a Barnum jam it happened, and it was like, I think I kind of know how to play East Side Window, and so then it was just like, I know how to play this song, so like at the last jam night.
Yeah,
It's like,
that was fun.
Let's play one of Ober's songs, and it made me feel really good to be like, I'm playing this, so people are gonna be like, this is cool, but like the whole time I'm like, somebody else wrote this, and I think he's cool, and he's like a local guy too, and you can just be like, check his stuff out,
Heck yeah, I'll cover some of them guys' songs eventually.
Yeah.
So.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's the best, and that's the other thing is like a lot of people are pretty open and honest with it about like kind of trying to be like, okay, this is how you play it, because I know that like in the Des Moines punk scene, there's a handful of people down there that are trying to do their best to like exchange songs and things, so like some of us are getting our music ready like that, where it's like, well, this is the bare bones basic of how you would play it, like with just lyrics and chords. So
right, so they're getting your song out there, or vice versa.
Yeah, or we're gonna. There's a couple people in the talks of like possibly doing a whole like, let's do like 5 bands on an EP and everybody covers somebody else's song. So I feel like something like that would be really cool, even around this area.
Who knows what spin they might put on your song that you didn't think about too.
Yeah, even around here, that would be really cool to do. Like, what would it sound like if somebody else did "She's Funky," or like.
I think that was badass.
Like it'd be freaking sweet,
Yeah.
And I don't know. At a jam night, you never know. You might hear it, and that's the other thing. Like I said, there's people around this area that are just as nice about being like, well, here's the lyrics if you want to play it.
Yeah, that's true.
I had to scrounge up my lyrics. I found them online actually, but I did find the lyrics and was just like, I'm gonna do this, and of course once Jeremy showed up, I was just like, I'm not gonna play this again, but like maybe next time.
Next video we put out, I want to put the words as it's singing. I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Do like almost a lyric video.
Yep, lyric video, that'd be cool.
I saw that like, okay, so it's obviously a little easier to do a lyric video. You can just do graphics. You don't have to do any visual
like
stuff.
slideshow, yeah.
But I've seen people starting to mix the two. Like you said, there's like, it's a lyric video, but it has like, there's a tiny bit of a story going on.
That's how I wanted to do Hammer Down, like with the tough trucks or something, get some of that footage.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool, man. Yeah. And I mean, like, it's not super hard. And I mean, obviously everything costs money, and, money's not, something everybody has like a ton of disposable money these days, but like an iPhone and a tripod, like,
big things.
You probably already got you don't even need an iPhone, whatever phone you got Motorola, whatever nonsense. I don't care. I don't know what phones are being made right now, but like, obviously, but yeah, you just go get a tripod and on, Amazon or whatever.
Boom, you're making videos.
Yeah, $20, and that's all I, for the most part, I'm doing. It's just like phone, recording and stuff, and it comes down to that just being something that, if you can do something, I guess why not? And that's probably like some of your mentality with like this music and stuff. It's like, well, like if I can play music, why not? You know? And like, how did you end up like turning the corner from being like, well, I can play music and I'll just sit here and like, because like I want to say one of the first times I saw you was at a jam night. I don't know if it was the first jam night you went to or not, but like one of the first times I saw you was at a jam night, and I was like, where'd this guy come from? Like what? I always wonder like what entices people to come out and try and play music.
I played like 7 years ago in a band, Dirty Thunder. We were like a 4-piece, 5-piece at one point, and we rocked shows. Then we broke up, and people had life going on. And then I hurt my knee like about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I told myself that I was just gonna get better at guitar. I'm gonna be sitting around. You're gonna be picking up your guitar. I started singing. Heard about jam night. Went over there, and like you said, started doing that stuff, and it started kind of getting better. I was having fun, and it just snowballed. I just kept going, grinding. I quit being scared of what people thought, how I sounded singing, and I just grinded it out, got my chops up, got better, and it's a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, man. I think that's some of the funnest things too, is like just being like, I've taught guitar lessons, so I always think like the only way that someone's going to want to like keep coming back every week and learning more is if it's fun for them. So you got to try and find ways to make it fun, where it's like, here's like 3 chords, but did you know you can play like these 16 songs with these 3 chords?
Absolutely.
And then the kids are like, whoa, because they're going to have heard at least a few of them.
That's what keeps you going.
And you're just like, wow, I didn't know that. So it's like, yeah, it's like if you can switch between them pretty quick, and then you can wham, you can play a song. You can play these 16 songs, or whatever. And you start doing stuff like that for kids, and they're just like, this is really cool. That's the same thing at jam nights, where like when you're in an environment where people are all, for the most part, very, very positive towards one another. And I want to say, not always, but like,
Good
sometimes
vibe. It's a good vibe.
it's a very good vibe, and people are always willing to help each other. Like there's been songs where like I've been up there or Dan's been up there and we're struggling to find the key, and somebody else hollers out, "Oh, what's we're in this key," or whatever like that, or
I think "Come Back Home" was like the first original song I ever did at the jam night, and I was so nervous, and just went up and did it. And it did good, and yeah, I was so nervous. So
yeah, well,
you're putting yourself out there, putting out your original stuff to people. You're putting yourself out there a little bit.
dude, I get that. 100%. That's the one reason that I hide most of my stuff, is because it's like you are really literally like putting your heart on your sleeve out there to somebody, or just, and it's tough because like I get it, like everyone's not going to like everything, so eventually you're going to play something where people are just like, this one's cool, yeah, but you're going to realize the claps are louder for other songs, but like,
and you got to realize that's all right, and it doesn't matter too much about stuff like that.
That's the tough part. That's the tough part, is like the overcoming that, because like I said, eventually someone's going to stomp on you a little bit, and you just got to you got to overcome. You got to
push through,
get to the next level. Because I mean, I don't know, we glossed over it a couple times on jam nights, but like. I did talk about it a little bit on the McAllister Hours podcast that I was on not terribly long ago, but like I was at a jam night, and that I got shushed by somebody while I was playing a song, and I was just like, "This is not happening," and I just lost it and was like, just yelled a bunch. I was like, "Why would you do that?" And it's I get it. Like I probably should have just powered through it, but like. I drove home and I'm just like, I suck at guitar, man. I suck at singing. But a couple days go by and you're like, I don't know, I'm not that bad, And I was like, I'm never going to another jam night again. But I was at the next jam night playing, playing and singing. Yeah, but it's one of those things, like you said, if you ever feel like that, you get down, it's like you gotta get back up and go somewhere else,
take it in stride.
Try it again. Or
I'm learning every show. Like our set list is rotating, so you know what I mean.
I'm still learning every show.
I
can't wait for another bassist to show up so I can sit there and start watching what they're doing, because I'm starting to play the bass a little more and I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
So if anybody's playing bass, show up to the Barnum Jams on Tuesday.
Every Tuesday,
Barnum, Iowa. And that's like another cool thing is like you have your own like little audience of people there to just try it out on, whether or not it's just somebody passing through eating or somebody just, pulled in for a drink and
I think there's definitely a local crowd, especially just for Tuesdays. I think there's people that just stop in on Tuesdays just for that. So.
Yeah. I mean, I do know a gentleman that like every time I go to, you play music, it's like you should go to the Barnum Jam. It's the only one I know of that's kind of localish and close to both of us, so I'm always just like, you should check this out. It's tons of fun. Even if you just play a little bit, you can go up there and just be like, just play something like this, make it, bluesy and simple, and, just try your best not to like stand out too much or get in the way or be too like ludicrously flashy, and
it's awesome how they got it going. Clint and Ashton at the Junkyard. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, hats off to Clint and Ashton Dillon, Clint Riedel. Clint plays music out there. It's kind of his jam night, and the Junkyard, that's Ashton Dillon, managing the Junkyard, helping us out. That's
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place too. I mean, you can go out there and grab a bite to eat. Most of the time, they're pretty good about it because, like I said, the jam night will start at 7, and now they're to the point where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna shut the fryers off. Any of you guys need food or anything?" Because some of us come in kind of late, and it's like, all right, I forgot to order some food. Hook me up with some food, And
very cool.
Yeah, it's really kind of neat that they'll, they're starting to really know their clientele and the people that are coming. They're playing music and they're helping out with, some of our kind of vices that we have as far as like coming in late and eating food, and we're like, oh, I forgot to eat today. Like, do you have the fry? It was like there was nothing worse than showing up like, can I get a hamburger? It's like, I shut the grill off like a half an hour ago. It's like, I didn't realize it was 9:30. Like, well, my bad. So
starving.
Yeah. Well, that's like the only, like, I'd say bad thing about it is it is like a slight ways away. It's like 5 miles away from, Fort Dodge or so. It's
easy trick.
Yeah, it's just an easy little drive though to swing out, and for the most part, there's usually like an instrument there. If somebody you don't have one, I've got like I usually bring a cheap bass and a cheap amp, and it's like, well, it's not. It's not high fly, stuff, but it'll work.
Oh yeah, you can jam.
Yeah, and I mean, I had Brad. I told him, I was like, I'm just bringing this to jam nights if you ever want to show up, and not bring your stuff. And he's just like, tone is in the fingers, And I was like, well, that's true. I guess to an extent, but I'm also just playing the bass and being new at the bass. I can't figure out bass tones.
I'm very new at the bass. I'd say you got a little experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just for the simple fact I've had one in my hands a little bit longer than you, but.
Twice now, I think I've played bass.
Yeah, twice ever.
Ever.
Oh yeah, that was right. Because we played "Going Down" as the
yeah.
first song that you ever played on bass.
Yep.
And not only that, but you played bass on East Side Window when I played East Side Window when I covered that at Jam Night too.
That's correct. Also,
So eat your heart out, Trevino and Ober. We're coming for you.
I don't know yet. Heavy hitters.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We just need a drummer and we're on. It's on. We're gonna battle the bands.
All men for that.
It would be really cool to have something kind of like that, but at the same rate, I wish there was more jam nights. I wish there was more occasions where, people could mix it up, different venues. So that way, musicians that don't feel like going to one venue would, be more likely to go to another one.
To really, really fall in love with like the Rockin' Picnic. We did the Ackley Park Fest. I came up and played at a set break for the Ramblers, and Tank Anthony played after that, camped. That was a great time. I love that vibe.
Yeah, like the whole like street dance kind of that type of deal.
Yeah, camping too. That was a blast.
Oh my gosh, the campground. Yeah.
There was like a 2-hour, 3-hour long jam around the campfire after all the festivities were shut down.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I remember somebody had hit me up and said you should swing out to this, and it was a little ways for me. I probably had something going on. Here's an excuse or two. How many do you want? I was so busy with school. No, I don't know.
Really
but
good time.
That's like super cool to have that kind of stuff happen. Especially when you're just like, I don't see Tank Anthony almost, ever. I haven't seen him live, but I've seen him in person before. So like, but at the same rate, like, I don't know. I need to have him on the podcast sometime to get to know him. Tank, you listening? Hit me up. But yeah, I don't know. That's really cool to be able to like sit down with those people, or at least get them to listen to some of your music, because you're starting to find out that as a musician, you might have your Friday and Saturday booked. And guess what? You don't get to go see any of your buddies play music now.
Same.
Yep.
So that's what's cool about Jam, because you get to see people and play with people you don't get to see or play with. Ever.
It's like, well, this person's in another band. They're playing with these people, but they're busy every Saturday and every Friday, just like you are. And that was, speaking of that kind of stuff. I hope that background. I don't think that background noise is coming through too loud, but
it's terrible. Like 5 when I try and record in the studio. Something's always going on out there.
Yeah. But like oh gosh, what were we talking about? Oh, jamming with buddies and stuff like that. Man, I was on a tangent. That background noise got me. I wish I knew. But yeah, you get to play with like people that wouldn't normally get to play with you. Oh, as far as playing like shows and stuff like that. So like I started to notice like you play shows sometimes at places that like, I mean, the easiest thing would be to like, just kind of tail behind some people like, oh, you play here. And then it's just like, you just go to the place and you say, hey, I play this music too. Here's some videos online. Or you send them a message and just be like, if you're interested, let me know. But you're playing at places that, I don't normally see other people around the area playing at. It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
How do you track down most of your shows as far as that? Or people starting to track you down?
They're starting to hit me up now, like
Cool.
stuff like the Rockin' Picnic or Jam Night. Somebody bops through.
Oh yeah,
we just did a private party at Jewel, and I think we got 2 gigs out of that from the people that were there. So it's just
that's neat.
Stuff like that.
That's really cool.
Yep.
As far as like just having people watch you, kind of hit you up.
Very cool to hear somebody see you, not when you're playing, but they come up to you and say they saw you play and it was a great time, you rocked it. That stuff's awesome.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing better than that. Like, post playing at the Rockin' Picnic, I'm sure you had some of this where people were tracking you down or saying good job and stuff. And like, yep. I recall, the same situation when I played a show there, and people really do appreciate it. And it's not to say that like we're not, super professionals, but people treat us like we're professionals, sometimes. And it's just like, dude, you're so good. You have business cards, and like, can you play private shows? And how, I mean, they're asking all these questions, and it's like, oh, I wasn't prepared for any of this, it's just like, no, I don't have business card. I don't even have a Facebook page. I don't have nothing, and that's the best and only way to do it. I'm doing the same thing, learning as I go. And, I'm learning from you just as much as, you guys are learning from me. I mean, you're ahead of me in like, as far as knowing how to like set levels and do record stuff, and you've got people that you're learning from, so it's kind of nice because I get to learn, stuff from you, and you get to learn stuff from other people, and it's this giant knowledge train, and nobody's like trying to hide this stuff at all. And that's one of the best parts about, this scene, as far as, I'm concerned, is you're even like helping other people record stuff to the point where you're just like, hey, you've got some stuff, just bring that over and we'll do a quick track of
let's
that.
Do that.
We'll try that real quick, So you're letting people come over with like couple instruments and record little
Yep.
scratch tracks of their own stuff, which is kind of nice, and
More I learn, the more frequent that could get, when
Yeah.
I learn the software more and stuff. So
yeah, it takes less time the more and more you learn.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't have to take all this time to set all this stuff up, and that's another really good thing is starting to learn that kind of stuff. And it is a giant learning curve. It's no different than me trying to figure out how to do the podcast. It's like like I was telling you beforehand, you listen to some of the first episodes and it's like, what's compression? I've never heard of it, so
Right.
so the unfortunate thing is if someone's got their mic far away, it's like they're just talking and it's like I can barely hear what it's not compressed at all. But luckily now I've like figured out a little bit of that, how to set levels and help audio a little bit at least. But I was like, I don't want to do video, it's too much stuff to do. And now it's I've figured out a way to
possible.
simplify it a little bit, and make it a little bit more worth the time. So if anybody's listening and you want to watch the video, there's a video on Patreon, there's links down below, whatever. But
It's a good video.
speaking of going other places and watching videos, you have a YouTube channel for all your music, correct? And
That is correct.
That's where most of your music's coming out. If everybody searches, I think Jesse Wilson Music, I think it's
Jesse Wilson
one of the
Music.
first things that'll pop up on YouTube.
There's
So
a couple Jesse Wilson musics, but
yeah, I want to say that you're more active than them because I either that or like my Google is starting to tailor too much to me. But it's starting to. If I search some of my buddies, like it's usually one of the first returns. So it should be. Otherwise, I'll put a link to that down below. So everybody, make sure you go there and hit subscribe and check out that music video for "Come Back Home."
Check out Come Back Home.
Yeah, man, it's really great.
And as far as I've progressed as making and recording and doing shows and stuff, I feel like I've come a long way since that song already in a few months. So
Yeah. I mean, not that that's the thing it's tough to look back at stuff and it's not like it's not good.
it is. I judge the crap out of it.
Yeah.
My old stuff.
It's so tough to do that, but it's not like it's not good. You just have to be like, oh, that was a thing. We did that. Look how much better it is now. And,
yeah.
But that's also like some of the toughest parts about pulling the trigger on music. Like, do I write a song and then record it and then play it, or do I write a song and then play it 4,000 times until I have mushed it into something I like now that's better and then record it, because
It's kind of fun seeing how it just becomes its own thing as you're building this. Like Come Back Home, we just started doing it, me and Brad, and it just started building into this thing that,
it becomes bigger than what it was initially.
It's very cool, very cool.
And that's another thing, like maybe you start a band and when you have a band, like you guys start playing Come Back Home and it sounds a little bit different than, obviously like same chords, same like type of stuff, but maybe the rhythm's a little bit different or they're like the leads are slightly different or like things. And it's just like, oh, this has a different feel to it, but same song with different feel,
Right.
and so maybe you'll end up with something like that. And like, maybe you'll re-record a second version of it, as like
Absolutely.
as a band, or whatever. And that'd be a fun thing to
like
do.
that.
That'd be a fun idea to do. Like
Man.
now that you've got these kind of things down, where you're gonna record stuff obviously and try and bring in some sort of like other instrumentals as well. But like,
Oh, yeah.
have you ever thought about just doing just solo material, like just being
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Starting to write and do some solo stuff.
yeah.
But I mean, it's all solo stuff. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's either me and a guitar or,
Yeah.
I could play a little lead over it and produce a beat, but,
Yeah. I mean, like we said earlier, it's just like you're just adding the ingredients to
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like I said, who wouldn't want pepperoni on their pizza? Who
there's
wants
great
just a cheese
ingredients
pizza?
around Fort Dodge.
Oh my gosh, yes. Better ingredients, better music, Fort Dodge. No, that's pretty cool though. Like, we got 40 minutes in already. This is a really good podcast. So like, what kind of stuff do you see yourself doing in the future? I mean, like obviously, like the goal is to just keep playing music and stuff like that. But do you have any like goals of trying to like maybe branch out like even farther outside of the Fort Dodge or Northern
Absolutely.
Iowa area?
It's like I said, we did a private party in Jewel. We got some gigs out of that. I just want to keep recording, writing, and performing music. And it's been kind of a short, wild ride so far. And I'm very excited to see where it's going to go after this. So I just take her as far as we can go.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense.
I'm aiming for the state fair circuit. We'll start there.
Not impossible.
There we
Not
go.
impossible. I know people who have played on it, and one of the cool things about it is once you kind of get in there, they remember you the next year.
And
So
the people you meet,
yeah,
be
so
kind of cool too.
And like I said, I don't know any of the people that like do any of the hiring for that, but I do know a handful of people who have been hired for it multiple times.
Very
So
cool.
like it's not an impossibility, especially playing your kind of music. It's So it's State Fair music, man. Whoever's listening from the State Fair board, Jesse Wilson Music on Facebook.
Thank you.
No, it's that'd be really cool though. I would absolutely love to play the State Fair or something like that.
Open up for some bigger names or something. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is I keep thinking to myself, like, I do play in a punk band and stuff like that, and you know, most of the stuff I end up like writing is usually like kind of metaler sounding or like more melodic sounding, and you know, that's the kind of stuff that I just like write when I'm bored. But I like playing like blues kind of stuff, so I'm in these like weird areas where I can't really like pick a lane and go with it, you know. But
I don't say pick a lane. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, it could just mush them all together, but it's tough to be like, who wants to play this kind of music at places and stuff like that. But I have also thought, you know, I'm not much of a lyricist. I don't write much for lyrics, and you know, so I don't really know who would want to listen to instrumental only. And I'm in this like kind of weird area, but like, you know, like I said, you're playing that kind of it's not quite new country, but it's got that kind of feel. Like every song has its own little bit of something that it feels.
Sure.
You know, like Come Back Home is a little bit more, you know, what I would call like a new country-ish feel.
Yep, I agree with
it's
that.
got, you know, harmonica, but it's got distorted guitar and stuff like that in there too. So, but like She's Funky, that one, you know, you play that one, that one sounds funky, quite obviously, you know. So
check
like
that out for sure.
Yeah, everything's got its own feel to it. You know, it kind of takes its own, you know, feel. Some of that has to be obviously because of who's playing along with you, and so everything's got a little bit of a different feel. But at the same rate, like I'm sure you're driving some of that home, and some of that comes from like your personal listening background. Have you ever what's your kind of favorite music to listen to if you're just cruising around?
Man, Jesse Wilson music right now, but I like listen. I listen to everything from David Allan Coe to Yellow Wolf, Tyler Childers, everything. Listen to a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like some of that can kind of like show who the musician is, and I mean, as of late, the only music that I listen to for the most part is like if I'm disc golfing, I'll put on some like blues music or something that's, you know, easy to, you know, just hear and not pay too close attention to. Otherwise, I'm just listening to local music. But it's kind of cool that you you keep putting music out. I have to make sure I got your new tunes in the Iowa playlist that I have. But there's a Spotify playlist if anybody looks. I'm trying to make playlists for all the music I can find in Iowa and stuff like that. You know, and got your music video on, you know, it's on the Audible Farm playlist for Iowa music videos.
I recently uploaded that to my Facebook too, get a little more exposure.
Oh, cool, man. I really, really do appreciate it. And that's the other thing is like, you know, the YouTube channel, trying to like, you know, build up a YouTube channel and do things with that or like slowly like trying to professionalize things just a little bit, you know, and it never ends because I mean, I'll do that and then I'll come back like 6 months later and be like, I do need to change my YouTube channel just a little bit and reorganize it a little bit, you know, or do something else with it. Or
mine's a mess, but there's lots of content on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing at the apartment here and looping and live looping stuff like that.
That's one of the other cool things is like you can play by yourself just singing and just playing guitar, or you can like add in loops and it makes like little drum beat type things, or you can like
beatboxing.
Yeah, or you can play like backing guitars to your own stuff with your looper and like dual guitars and things like that. You do all sorts of cool stuff with that. And I mean, that was one of my favorite things about like seeing you live is it's just you know, when I saw you play at Jam Night, it was like, oh, he doesn't have all that stuff, you know, and I know that that's what he does. Like, but I also know that like you can do just as well without it.
Sure,
so it's, you know, and that's something else. Like now you're playing with Dan Blair and you got like this duo thing going. So you guys have to like learn how to give each other enough room and breathe with each other. And, you know, like
we're learning. It's getting there though.
I mean, I'm just as not good at it as the next guy because I haven't done too much of it, you know. So I would have to figure out like where's the best way, or like how many verses should I give him, you know, through to solo, or like is he done soloing, or like does he know that I'm kind of come back and sing here, you know. You get the hand signals. I think the funniest one I heard, and I forgot about who told it. Somebody was like, "This one." It's like that either means wrap it up,
or keep it going,
or let's go another round. You know,
that's confusing.
Yeah. So the hand signals are always a tough one to kind of get used to, and things like that, you know. And it always just kind of, you know, makes me smile to see, you know, people figuring that stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, you've got all sorts of different dynamics to your music. So like, just to pigeonhole you as like a new country guys, like I would definitely say would be unfair. Because like I said, every song you release is you with other musicians around the area, and you make, you know, something that's totally independently your own as a recorded piece of art, and then you go to jam nights, it's like, well, this is what it sounds like when it's just me, because this is me working on my stuff, and then when you go out and play live shows, now you're starting to bring, Dan Blair with you, and it's like, well, this is me with a duo, and
put your full effect on your songs,
Yeah,
Very cool.
it's really it's like almost like, here is the finished material, and then you go to like jam nights and like, this is how it started.
Sure.
Yeah. And then at live shows, it's like, this is how we add stuff to it. It's almost like a stair step your way right on through.
Oh yeah, you got to.
What would be like if you could add like another? I mean, obviously bass and drums, but like, would you be against like a keyboardist or like maybe something?
No,
like you
I
seem
wouldn't.
like the kind of person that would be like, bring a freaking DJ table up here. Like,
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. All that. I wouldn't be against like a saxophone. Maybe bust out tequila.
Dude, I know Dan knows a saxophonist.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
Bug him about it. I know the guy as well. He would be very happy to
Cool.
at least come play. So
Jam night. Let's try it out.
dude, yeah. I mean, that's the only bad thing is like he lives. I think he lives up in the Algona area, so it'd be kind of a jaunt for him.
Yeah.
But at the same rate, that's one of those things. Why not? And we're trying to get more people to come out. As a matter of fact, I talked to a guy and he showed up at the last jam night and he plays. His thing is he knows all the chords, he can play them. He just he can't switch between them very fast. So he like didn't want to get up there and stuff. But like I totally get that. I was there. I've taught people that were at that point, and it's kind of a weird monotonous area to get past. But like once you're past it, you're like, it unlocks. It's just like something happens in your brain.
Standing up if you've always played sitting down or
Oh,
singing and playing
yeah.
together.
Oh my gosh. Standing up and sitting down is like a silently weird thing. I showed you a video of Joe Satriani. He wrote a solo sitting down and realized he couldn't play it standing up.
Oh wow.
And then he like, when he goes and plays it live, he has to have like somebody walks out there with like a black shirt and black pants on, so they're like hiding against the backdrop.
That's crazy.
And they put a chair out there for him.
That's crazy.
So when he gets to the solo, he has to sit down and play a solo and then stand back up and finish it.
When I was in a band called Dirty Thunder, like I said years ago, I played sitting down the whole time, and we had a show in like a week, and I'm like, I've never played standing up before. And I had to adjust in like a couple weeks to the songs. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's definitely weird because like your hand, like your arm is in a different spot, so your hand is bent at a different degree and a different.
Can't see all the fretboard very good.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's definitely weird. I mean, as far as playing like a guitar in your lap, like it's almost like pitched towards your face more.
Right, you can see everything.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, I totally get what you're saying. It's how did it all fare out?
It fared out. I mean, like I say, it probably wasn't the best show because it was the first show, but
yeah,
it was scary sitting down and learning to play stand up for the first show. It's crazy,
dude. You're playing guitar with Dan and stuff. Well, me and Dan were in a band in high school, and our first show we played in front of our peers, like before prom.
Oh man,
it was not bad, but like it was a bunch of super judgmental teenage kids.
Sure.
And so, like, it was not the greatest response ever, and it was just, like, the whole time just sweating bullets,
I bet.
Then you get down and you're like, I don't even know if they like this or not, Like, it was rough, First shows are definitely some of the toughest things ever.
Absolutely.
I wonder how Dan felt kind of coming back and playing shows. I mean, I guess, he said he felt, like I said, earlier in the podcast, he felt pretty good about it,
Yeah, he did well.
But, I wonder if he, like, went through some more nerves. That was a weird one. You're gonna hear that on the podcast. My voice cracked. No, I'm not editing that out. I'll leave it in.
Yeah, leave it.
No, but like I was talking to somebody and they were like, it's weird because like before you play shows, sometimes you get nervous, and the more shows you play, the less nervous you get, quite obviously. And like it's no different at jam nights. The more you get up there, the more you just feel like I fit in here, And so I always think about that kind of stuff, and I've thought about some of my buddies that are like way better at guitar, but at playing shows, sometimes they like freeze up or biff things because they're nervous or whatever. Maybe they sit down and play stuff, and this is their first time standing up. Right. You never know. It could be some of that stuff too. And it's you get more comfortable playing the more you play. And
oh yeah, it's starting to be fun now. I was getting nervous for the bigger shows we were doing, but now it's getting comfortable, and you practice, you get your material ready, and you have fun,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said it, like, I think you said some of the best was like, this is where, preparation meets opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And you've always been, pretty good about that kind of stuff as far as like, oh, I gotta, I'm practiced up. It's not like, obviously, like, my situation is zero preparation, so like I know how to play a lot of songs. I know how to do like all the stuff you're doing, but I don't practice and prepare for any of it. So I
Right.
can't do it,
Right.
and you can, because you've put the time and energy and
Even the gig, that's like a practice for the next one,
yeah, you just
Constantly learning.
just keep going and keep going. And that's the thing, is you're out there doing that stuff and I'm not. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I should be, but it's like you're putting in the time and hours, and you're preparing, like like you said, each and every gig is a preparation for the next gig.
Yep.
And you're always
Constantly learning.
honing your craft, going to jam nights. Does this song work? I've never played it before. This is a great place to play it.
Place to bust out a new tune you wrote or whatever.
Yeah, and
Practice something you never played.
you start to figure out like, well, it went good, but when I sang and played this part, it was weird. Let's change it a little bit, and you can sharpen it up a little bit there. And it's really neat that you have that capability. Not everyone has that capability. You've got with that mindset, I feel like almost anyone could tackle just about anything, though.
Yeah, I agree. Put your mind to it.
Yeah,
Do it. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to do something? Do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, we got pretty close to an hour covered in here. Obviously, we talked about the new music video you got that came out. The new music video was "Come Back Home." Since then, you've dropped 2 songs.
Correct.
And they're all available every streaming service,
Yep.
as well as on YouTube Music. They're there. Music video for "Come Back Home" is in the description section, so everybody check that out. And then right below that will be all of Jesse's links for Instagram and Facebook, and there it is. So,
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me join you on the podcast. It's not always easy
Anytime.
finding guests, and it's one of those weird things where it's like, it doesn't feel like it's been very long since I've talked to you, but you got a lot of stuff done in that
Cool.
short amount of time. So
Heck
it's
yeah.
really cool, man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. We'll check you later.
Later.
Hey, there's another episode in the bank. Make sure you check out Jesse's music video. I got a link for it down below. It'll be the first link in the description section. There will also be links to all of Jesse's stuff down below, Facebook and Instagram, and just about anything else I can scrounge up, including his YouTube channel. So check that out. He's got some cool stuff going on. Like I said, he's been pumping out a song every couple of months. It seems like he's got a new song that's coming out. So check it out. He's got, he's working hard, and that's what it comes down to, is just not being stagnant, and he's doing a pretty darn good job of it. So hats off, Jesse. Commend you for all your efforts and being proactive and creating music and going to jam nights and finding guys to play guitar with, and heck, after we recorded this episode, he even threw me on a couple tracks that he's recording just for fun. We kind of recorded stuff. I don't know if any of what I recorded will stick, but that's kind of just the fun part about what Jesse's doing. He's just kind of inviting people over and saying, hey, record something here, and we'll see what happens. You never know. So hey, if you guys think you can drop something on one of Jesse's tracks, maybe hit him up. Check out all of his links down below, and make sure you follow and subscribe, and check out that music video. And speaking of following and subscribing and all the good stuff, down below that you will find a link to audiblefarm.com. There you will find all of the Audible Farm social medias and links to pretty much everything, including other podcasts in the Iowa area. So if you like this podcast, if you stumbled across it and you think, hey, this is enjoyable, I wonder what else is going on in the music scene in Iowa, go check it out. Go to audiblefarm.com, scroll to the bottom, and you'll find a bunch of links to other radio shows and podcasts and things of that nature. So check that out. Otherwise, the Audible Farm shop is up. Audible Farm shop, it's one of the easiest ways to get an Audible Farm t-shirt or hoodie. I am sold out of a few sizes, so check the availabilities at the Audible Farm shop. That's shop.audiblefarm.com. There is also an Audible Farm Patreon page. The Audible Farm Patreon page has video versions of the podcast. If you guys want to watch video versions of the podcast, go to the Audible Farm Patreon page. That's patreon.com/audiblefarm. And it's only $1 a month. $1 a month will get you all the episodes. So most months, that'll get you 4 episodes. And the cool part about it is you can go watch all the backlog stuff. So if you're just finding out about the Patreon now and you sign up now, you will get all of the old video episodes. Starting at episode 100, we're trying to do a little bit more stuff to keep everybody involved with the podcast here. So if you guys are looking for video versions, they are available. Sometimes some fun stuff happens in the video versions, and I'm trying my best to do some fun stuff with the video versions. So check those out if you guys are interested. Otherwise, the audio versions are always free. They'll be free everywhere, including our YouTube channel. So if you guys are looking for something to subscribe to on the YouTube, check out our YouTube channel. There's clips, free podcast, guitar mod videos, live band videos, and so much more. So check that out. That's just youtube.com/audiblefarm. You'll find it there. go to the link, hit subscribe, and thank you guys very much for all your support. I'll be back next week with another stellar guest. Peace.